English questions about problems. What problem do you have right now? Right now, the frame of my bed is broken. So I need to buy a new frame for my bed and throw away the old one. Who do you ask for advice with your problems? If I have problems with my work or in relationships, I often contact a friend of mine and we video chat to talk it out. He gives me some good advice that I can follow to solve my problems. Even if I don't follow his advice, I already feel better just by talking about my problems. Are you a creative problem solver? Yes. I think I solve problems in a unique way. Ever since I was in elementary school, I would think about problems and try and find solutions in a way that is different than most people would. Do you like staying busy? Why? Yes, these days I like staying busy, so I create many projects that I try to finish. It keeps me focused. If I don't have something that I have to do, a project or some kind of work, then I don't feel happy. I feel like life doesn't have any meaning if I don't have something to pursue with purpose. I suggest you find some projects that you can work on to be focused and to gain greater results in the future. What's the best life advice that you have ever heard? Recently, I read a quote by Confucius. It doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you don't stop. And I think that is very good advice because sometimes we push ourselves and then we just give up and never progress. But if you just tell yourself to keep going, you will eventually reach your goals. Perhaps it's not the best life advice that I've ever heard, but it's what I remember right now. Have you helped a stranger? Whenever I get an opportunity to help a stranger in a situation, I do my best. If they left something behind, I will ask them if it's theirs. I like helping strangers, and I hope I can do a little bit more in the future. Are there specific situations that you find stressful? Whenever I might be late for a meeting or I am unprepared, I feel stressed. So the best thing I can do is arrive early for meetings and also to be over-prepared for whatever might happen. If we can take control of our lives and prepare for whatever scares us, we won't be as stressful as we are now. What problems do your parents struggle with? I love my parents, but they often struggle to adapt to new situations or to try something new. Sometimes I have to persuade them to try new food or to try something in a certain way. As children, we have different lives than our parents, and they have some struggles that we cannot relate with. So we have to do our best to help them because they've done so much for us. If you could give advice to yourself from 5 years ago, what would you tell yourself? I would tell myself just to start. Do things that are different, do things that you've thought about, but just start. You will figure it out as you go. But the longer you wait before you start, the more time you waste and you will regret it. So if I could go back 5 years and talk with myself, I would tell myself just to go for it, because waiting is way worse than whatever problems you might run into. Do you have a stressful life? No, I don't have a stressful life. Compared to other people in the world, my life is relatively stress-free. Many people in the world have problems that I don't have, so I should count myself lucky when compared to them. Or you can say, yes, I have a stressful life. I have lots of work to do, I have many worries, I have problems with my family and friends, I am very stressed and I wish I could find solutions for these problems in my life. What is a problem that you have recently overcome? I recently overcame a minor problem. It was difficult for me to order anything online because most of the apps that I work with is in Korean. But I told myself I will sit down and figure it out. So I sat down for 30 minutes and I played on my phone and I figured out the app until I could order some goods online. Do your friends go to you for advice? How do you help them? My friends come to me for advice, especially if it's something that I am good at. So they might come to me with a problem with class, or if they need someone to talk to. When someone shares a problem with me, I ask them, do you want advice or do you only want someone to listen? Because often we get into the habit of immediately giving advice to someone that might just want to get their problem off of their shoulders. So make sure that they want your advice or they only want a kind ear listening. How do you cope with stress? Whenever I have stress, I go for a walk or I go to exercise or I take 10 minutes to meditate. As soon as you understand that the stress is outside of you and not inside, you can feel a lot better. Remember, stress and problems are temporary. It's in the past or it's in the future, but right now is what you have to focus on. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Do you agree? Yes, but when you go through something difficult that doesn't kill you, you have to learn from it. Make notes of why that happened, what happened, and also how you can prevent that from happening in the future. So if you go through a difficult time, toughen up and also reflect on how you can solve that problem in the future. What work takes up most of your time and energy? The work that takes up most of my energy is myself and my procrastination. I spend so much of my time trying to get the energy together to do something, to work on a project, to go exercise, to face my responsibilities. We put it off, and then last minute we rush to get it finished. If we can set up our lives in such a way where we take that decision away and just finish our work and do the things we have to do, it will take off a lot of energy and time off our shoulders and we will be more relaxed by just doing it. Anxiety and depression are big issues in the modern world. Do you sometimes struggle with it? In modern times, on social media, especially like Facebook and Instagram, you see people talking about anxiety and depression. And even though our lives are so much better than our parents and our grandparents, more people today have anxiety and depression. For myself, I don't really struggle with anxiety or depression. If I have a problem, maybe sometimes it gets me down, but overall I am a very happy person. I think it's also important for teachers to be positive in front of their students, because if we tell our students it's okay to be anxious, it's okay to be depressed, maybe we are forcing those feelings onto them. We should tell them it's okay to be anxious and depressed, but that's not the way that you want to be. You want to feel in a positive and relaxed state. So as teachers, we should try and help our students with that, but we shouldn't tell them that that is your normal state, because then they would think, oh, that's how I'm supposed to be, when it's not. How can you fix one of your problems? I think the majority of my problems I can fix by facing it head on. I should write down what my problem is and what steps I need to take in order to solve that problem. Then it's all down to action. I have to work at it and I have to try my best to solve that problem. Everybody has issues and problems in their lives. We should go through them one by one and try and solve them before the next ones arrive. What kind of problems did your grandparents' generation struggle with? My grandparents lived through a world war. Before a time of television and phones, they had to work very hard for what they had, and the men had to go and fight in war. These days we make our problems very big, but in comparison to our grandparents, we live a life of luxury. Our grandparents had to work very hard without the technology we have today. Which would you choose? A stressful job with a high salary, or a low-paying job with zero stress? Obviously, we would like a job with zero stress but a high salary, but that isn't one of the options. I think I would actually prefer a stressful job with a high salary for a shorter amount of time, because a low-paying job with zero stress means that you are not improving. Stress isn't always bad. If you want to improve and grow as a person, you need that stress. It's like that analogy of a diamond. A diamond can only be formed through lots of pressure. So we have to go through stress if we want to grow and improve. I don't want zero stress. I need some stress in my life to keep going. If you would like more English questions like this, check out the book in the description below.